Covered, and we're here. Beautiful morning, a Thursday for that matter, as we take you through what is happening in the world of news, and equally we take some beat of a lifestyle. Today will be all about fashion later. That is on the last laps of the program. But before that, I take you through what my team has prepared and equally what is captured in the newspapers. Thank you so much for always keeping it TV47. My name is Linda Alela, and this is a Morning Cafe. Important that you be part of this discussion or be part of this program. Hashtag Morning Cafe at Linda_Alela at TV47. The numbers to call will be rolling down on your screen when we kick off the discussion later on with our able panel as we delve deep into understanding the issues that surround you. Karibu sana once again. A beautiful morning, and I'll take you through as we start off with this one. The Ministry of Health has come out to refute claims that President Uhuru Kenyatta has barred cabinet secretaries from traversing the country amid a surge in COVID-19 infections. This is even as the number of coronavirus cases in the country rises to 14,805 cases after 637 more people tested positive as of yesterday.
A controversial circular from the Office of the Head of Public Service went viral after it stated that President Uhuru Kenyatta has barred cabinet secretaries from traversing the country amid a surge in coronavirus cases. However, the Ministry of Health has come out to refute claims that there has been a cabinet lockdown.
There is no such thing as a cabinet lockdown as we have seen in the news.
According to Health CS Dr. Rashid Aman, the circular was released to serve as a reminder to civil servants to follow the COVID-19 rules and guidelines. Aman further stating that government services are essential services and can therefore not be stopped.
The purpose of that circular was simply to reinforce the measures that the government has put in place for civil servants and public officers to observe. Government must function. Government officers must function. And if you remember, we have said that essential services must continue.
And despite there being a surge in COVID-19 numbers, Mombasa County seems to have struck a drop in the transmission curve, something that Aman attributes to the residents' adherence to COVID-19 guidelines.
Clearly, the measures in place there are working, and this needs to be encouraged.
Aman, however, warns that counties bordering the Nairobi metropolitan area, such as Kiambu, Machakos and Kajiado, are in a danger zone due to a rise in COVID-19 cases in those counties.
We are appealing to residents of these counties to strictly adhere to the containment measures for the spread of the virus to be under check.
The number of COVID-19 cases in the country rose to 14,805 cases after 637 more people tested positive for the virus.
Nairobi recorded 342, Machakos 85, Kajiado 57, Kiambu 51, Nakuru 22, Mombasa 17, Nyeri 13, Busia 10, Muranga 9, Uasin Gishu 6, Bomet 5, Kericho 3, Kisii 3, Marsabit 2, and Narok, Vihiga, Meru, Embu, Garissa, Homa Bay, Kakamega, Kilifi, Kirinyaga, Kisumu, Kitui, and Laikipia have 1 case each.
A total of 499 people have recovered in the last 24 hours as 10 more people succumbed to the virus. For TV47, I'm Zainab Mohammed.
Now, Kenyans have listed unemployment, corruption, and high cost of living as the most pressing issue that could be addressed by leaders as the COVID-19 disease ravages the country. In a survey report released by research company Intel Research Solutions, 62% of respondents also revealed that they yearn for a new presidential candidacy as the country approaches the 2022 general elections, as David Muthoka reports.
Unemployment, corruption, and high cost of living have been listed as the most pertinent issues that Kenyans want addressed by their leaders. This follows a study by research company Intel Research Solutions, as most Kenyans continue to feel the sting of the novel coronavirus. The study further focused on political party preference, presidential candidate preference, best working governor, and support for the Building Bridges Initiative BBI. Jubilee Party was listed as Kenya's most popular party, amassing a 42% share among the 4,224 respondents contacted. The Orange Democratic Party ODM follows with 25%, while 13% of the respondents said they do not align to either party. According to the study, Deputy President William Ruto is the most preferred candidate ahead of the 2022 general elections. ODM leader Raila Odinga and Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua follow with 17% and 8% respectively, while 16% of Kenyans do not know whom to vote for. This, as a majority, 62%, want to see change and new faces for the 2022 presidential contest.
And actually, this one is noted in Nairobi. Nairobi stands at 70. And we have Western and Eastern. So it means these regions, they are hungry for change.
The study further ranked Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua as the best performing governor, closely followed by Governors Hassan Ali Joho, Wycliffe Oparanya, Kivutha Kibwana, and Mwangi wa Iria from Mombasa, Kakamega, Makueni, and Murang'a counties respectively. 48% of Kenyans revealed they would re-elect their current senators, 54% would re-elect their current MPs, while a majority, 51% of Kenyans, would re-elect their current women representatives. Nearly half of Kenyans would support the BBI initiative.
We have regions like Northeastern, which stands at 83%, in support of BBI. But cost seems they're against the BBI.
The study was conducted in all 47 counties. David Muthoka, TV47, Nairobi.
Crunch on that report later on. Now, the pubs, Entertainment and Restaurants Association, PERAC, has asked the government to charge offenders flouting COVID-19 safety guidelines individually in a court of law, since it will be unfair to administer collective punishment to all outlets. PERAC chairperson Alice Opey pleads with the Ministry of Health to withdraw a set of punitive regulations, such as banning the sale of alcoholic drinks.
The Pubs, Entertainment and Restaurants Association, PERAC, has asked the Ministry of Health to take away penal guidelines that bar the sale of alcohol in different restaurants in the country. The association insists that tourism sector included eateries and restaurants, but not bars, discos and entertainment joints. PERAC chairperson Alice Opey said that violators of the COVID-19 safety protocols should be individually charged in court, and collective punishment of the entire sector should not be applied.
There should not be a collective punishment to the entire sector. Offenders should be individually charged in court. The isolated businesses highlighted in the media are not members of PERAC. That is the Pubs, Entertainment, Restaurants Association of Kenya. And as such, we disassociate our members and the association from heinous and the act of flouting the laws as laid down by the government.
At the same time, Frank Mbogo stated that the new measures will force the majority of workers in the industry back home and will further worsen the economic troubles they're already incurring. And in case the proposals are approved, they will go against the spirit of the Alcoholic Drinks Control Act.
If the proposal is approved, thousands will be rendered jobless and businesses likely to collapse. Section 3 and 5 means the only place where alcohol can be consumed is in people's homes. This is against the spirit of Alcoholic Drinks Control Act, which bans sale and consumption of alcohol in the presence of children.
The association has also criticized what they term as a unilateral order by Kiambu Governor James Nyoro banning the sale of alcohol in the county.
We urge the governor to respect the rule of law, and we have in mind the welfare of businesses in the county to avoid making unilateral decisions.
Some restaurants have resulted in selling alcohol even past curfew hours. Some high-ranking individuals have been among people caught engaging in drinking sprees in restaurants. The Pubs, Entertainment and Restaurants Association, PERAC, now pleads with the government to deal individually with offenders who breach COVID-19 guidelines put in place, saying it is unfair to administer collective punishment to all outlets for the crime of a few. Nanok Lauren, TV47.
Thanks, Nanok, for that. Now, Makadara Court has been temporarily closed for 14 days following identification of 2 coronavirus cases. The break will allow disinfection of the court premises and seeking of medical attention of the staff members who may have been affected. Here is more from the corridors of justice.
All matters at Makadara Court will remain suspended for the next 14 days. This is after 2 cases of the highly contagious virus were found at the court. In a statement to newsrooms, the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary urges its staff and court users to continue adhering to the Ministry of Health protocols on the COVID-19 pandemic. In other news, the Children's Court today dismissed an application by a woman who was seeking child support from Chief Justice David Maraga. While delivering the ruling, Magistrate G.M. Gitonga ruled that the application by Mary Kwamboka Onyancha was not properly filed and that the applicant did not appear in court or send any lawyer to represent her. Kwamboka wanted child support for a 6-year-old child she claimed was sired by the Chief Justice following an alleged affair in 2013, a claim C.J. Maraga denied through his lawyer.
With Maraga, we had an affair.
When?
We've been friends from 2013, and now I have a 6-year-old daughter.
Do you have the documents with you?
I have everything.
Have you
here.
filed?
I've been filing cases every now and then.
And another legislator found himself on the wrong side of the law after flouting COVID-19 guidelines. Kasipul MP Charles Ongondo Were was fined 15,000 Kenya shillings after pleading guilty to flouting COVID-19 pandemic regulations. Appearing before Senior Resident Magistrate Selesa Okore in Oyugis, the lawmaker was charged with flouting a ban on mass gatherings after he was found distributing sanitizers to the locals. Were became the second lawmaker this week to find himself in trouble with the law enforcement agencies for breaching COVID-19 regulations. Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja was also fined 15,000 shillings on Tuesday. Eli Logova, TV47, Nairobi.
We'll also take a look at the implications of that later on. This, even as efforts to resolve Kirinyaga County standoff entered day 2, with county MCAs appearing before the Senate Devolution Committee to find a solution on the 2020-2021 county budget. The Devolution Committee will now have a joint meeting with Governor Waiguru and the MCAs to find a solution today, as Joash Ansari reports.
Kirinyaga County rankles will be resolved if at all the county MCAs and Governor Anne Waiguru will tone down their differences for the benefit of the people of Kirinyaga. The Senate Committee on Devolution and the MCAs conducted a meeting on Zoom to discuss the impasse of the county budget. The finance chairperson in the assembly, David Mathenke, said the executive failed to present relevant documents for discussions in the county assembly in the budget-making process.
What are these draft bills, if not the appropriations bill? Did the CC member for finance submit this appropriation bill during the time when he was submitting the budget estimate? The answer is no. That's the reason why we called him. We do it together with him, because there is no room in the PFM that allows, after the budget estimate is tabled to the assembly, is taken back to the executive.
The control of budget, Dr. Margaret Nyakango, said the only way to end the budget stalemate is to have a consultation and agree to pass the proposed budget in question.
Be consultation. But there has to be a limit to how much weighting the county assembly can take. But it should be common knowledge between the two parties. That is what I insist. So if up to a certain point they don't receive anything, then they should go ahead with what they have. Now, what has not been proven here is whether that threshold was passed, and that is why they went ahead.
Kirinyaga County Majority Leader James Murango wants Governor Anne Waiguru to withdraw the cases she filed in court if she is willing to resolve the stalemate in the county.
We cannot continue with mediation whereby the subject matter is still in the court of law. Mr. Chair, we demanded that the governor withdraws or causes the withdrawal of the 2 constitutional petitions filed at the High Court of Kenya Kenya in Kerugoya and the High Court of Kenya at Nairobi. This one is regarding the same budgets we are talking about, Mr. Chair.
The chair of the Senate Devolution Committee, Moses Kajwang, has asked the county leaders to bury their differences and seek a lasting solution in the interest of the people of Kirinyaga County.
This is about lives. This is about health. This is about schools. And this is about roads and markets for the people of Kirinyaga. So I am glad that we are all agreeing that we must climb down from our positions so that we are able to get a solution.
In a bid to resolve the county standoff, the Senate Committee on Devolution will meet Kirinyaga County Assembly representative and Governor Waiguru on Thursday. Joash Onsare, TV47, Nairobi.
We'll give you the developments of the same later in the day, as Kakamega County Governor Wycliffe Oparanya has for the first time come forward to defend his move to set aside parcels of land for mass graves, saying it is in line with the upgrading of Kakamega town to the status of a city come 2022. We'll indicate with that report.
Addressing the press in Kakamega during the Council of Governors weekly update on county's preparedness in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic, Governor Wycliffe Oparanya expressed his anger on how prominence has been given to his move to set aside land for mass graves for people who succumbed to COVID-19 in Kakamega. Oparanya reiterated that death is inevitable and there is need to be prepared.
Someone even wrote spend 2 billion to buy land. That is nonsense. 2 billion, if my development budget is 4 billion, so how will you spend 2 billion? And where is the land here in Kakamega, which is worth 5 acres, worth 2 billion shillings? That is the nonsense that we don't want to see. So we should tell people what is correct. Even the governor of Kisumu is here. He has also set aside every county. And we must prepare for death. Death will come. I will die. I will not be here forever. I will die one day.
Oparanya, however, clarified that no monies were allocated in this financial year's budget for purchase of land for graves.
Preparing this town to be a city in the near future. And one of the necessities for a town to be a city to have a proper cemetery at a particular place. So if I say I'm looking for a cemetery near the forest there so that we move out of town, what is the problem? Some people take it as an issue. And we have even not bought it, we have not even spent money on it. And it's also part of the preparedness requirement for the COVID-19.
Last week, the Kakamega County Assembly refuted claims that they were involved in passing the budget for purchase of land for graves, accusing the governor of misappropriation of funds as health sector continues to suffer.
Sisi kama bunge la Kakamega hatujaweza kutenga pesa ya kununua makaburi, viwanja za makaburi. Na hata hivyo, kama ni mswada utakuja bungeni, lazima tutahusisha wakazi wa Kakamega wakubali kwamba wapendwa wao watakapoaga waweze kuzikwa kwa makaburi ya jumla.
Mulindi Kerry, TV47 in the county of Kakamega.
And now to a rather unfortunate story. A 14-year-old girl from Karurumo village in Runyenjes is 4 months pregnant for a casual laborer who defiled her. This is the second time the girl has been defiled, and the suspected perpetrator walks scot-free, as Muige William reports.
A class 5 pupil in Karurumo, Embu County, is 4 months pregnant after allegedly being defiled by a casual laborer from the same area. The girl alleges she has been defiled twice in the last 2 years, and the latest incident was reported last month. According to Joy Kendi, the victim's sister-in-law, early this year a neighbor to the family came home drunk at around midday and lured the girl to his house under the guise of sending her to the shop. However, when the innocent girl approached the door, the suspect, only known as Mugambi, pulled the girl into the house and proceeded to defile her.
Alikuwa ameenda kwa maji, kusota maji. Yenye alienda kusota maji, kijana akatoka huko akamsika. Yenye alimusika, akamfanyia kenye alimfanyia, mtoto akakaa huko, hata hakukuja, alikaa huko. Kijana alikuja kama amekunywa pombe. Akamuita, akafukuza wengine. Alafu akaita huyu, akamwambia kuja nikutume. Venye alienda kumutuma akamfuruta. Venye alimfuruta ndio sasa walifanya kenye walifanya.
The pregnancy was discovered last month when the girl started getting sickly. The girl confided to her kin what had happened, and when the suspect was confronted, he promised to take care of the baby. Kendi and other members of her family, in the company of the suspect, decided to report the matter at Karurumo police post, but Mugambi escaped while they were on the way. Kendi said her mother-in-law, Beatrice Wavuria, is unwilling to pursue the matter since no action was taken when the same girl was defiled in the year 2018. The girl's mother is also treating the misfortune as a blessing in disguise. It was rumored that the girl will never conceive after the first defilement incident.
Mwambi alikubali, akasema yeye nilimuita. Penye alisema alimuita, nilimuuliza Mwambi, kwanza ulikuwa unamuita akiwa bibi yako? Ama ulikuwa unamuita akiwa msichana mkubwa? Ama ulikuwa unamuita akiwa nani? Na venye nilikuja nikaambia mamu hiyo kesi yote mamu hataki kufuatilia. Hakuna kitu anataka kusikia. Anasema Mungu atasaidia. Mungu atasaidia.
Hiyo mimba alikuwa anapakisha ati ya moja. Anaona ati ni faida kwake kuwa mtijana wake alikuwa akidhania hata pata mtoto, na sasa akona ya moja, akona mimba. Hiyo ati anaona ndio faida yake.
Catherine Wanja, a head teacher from the area, is aiding the pursuit of justice for the girl. Wanja regrets that this case is a reflection of the predicament that thousands of school-going girls are facing and may continue to face until schools reopen in January.
Na labda ndio sababu kesi zinaendelea kuwa juu, kwa sababu wanajua runyenjes wakinajisi watoto, kesi zinapotelea hivyo.
Jojo Molo, Embu East Deputy County Commissioner, says the administration is fast-tracking the investigation on the matter, as well as other similar cases. He promises the culprits will be brought to book. Moige William for TV47.
More than 90 households in Wieta Maridadi village, Kwanza constituency, Trans Nzoia County, have been displaced by floods. The incident follows a heavy downpour at night that saw River Sabwani burst its banks and flooded the area. Those affected have been moved to safer grounds, as our reporter Boniface Baraza has the details.
These are the scenes that invite you to this village. The locals have nothing to celebrate about. Instead, they are worried whenever it rains, as narrated by Simon Wekesa, a resident in the village.
Vile sisi tumekaa hapa kuanzia 85. Kweli tumekaa kwa njia ile yani sio kuwa mzuri, kwa sababu kila mwaka tunaingia kwa maji. Watu 90 na more than yani ni wengi, kwa sababu ukiangalia kijiji kama ni hapa hivi, kuna watu na pia wameathirika, kwa sababu ni watu wenye wako ndani ya maji na pia na.
Ni mateso kweli ambayo tunapitia. Tumepitia bara la maji kwa inatutesa zaidi. Tumekuwa katikati asifu hatuko Kenya. Serikali ingetukumbuka. President wetu Uhuru kiwa atatusikia, atukumbuke. Hatuone kututoa mali hapa, maana tumepitia katika shida.
The residents of this swampy area are worried of an outbreak of waterborne diseases since their pit latrines are now flooded. They want the national government, in conjunction with the county government, to provide them an alternative land as a lasting solution to the problem that has been facing them since 1985.
Maji inasumbua sisi. Tafadhali serikali, kama mnapenda, mtupeleke mahali pazuri, tuishi kama sisi wanadamu ambao tunapika kura. Kwa sababu sisi maskini tunapikia watu wanapata pesa. Na sisi maskini ndio sisi tunalala ndani ya maji. Kwa hivyo serikali ingilia mambo kama namna hiyo. Sikwata ya hapa sisi tupate mashamba.
Transport is also paralyzed in the area since their only footbridge is about to collapse, posing more dangers to the locals.
Ningeweza kuomba wanasiasa waweze kutengeneza lile daraja ambayo inaitwa Sabwani River. Tumepoteza watu wengi kupitia kwa huo mto. Kando na corona, maji imemeza watu wengi. Na naomba wananchi wa hapa, tafadhali tujiadhari na maji.
Mtu akiwa kama saa mama mjamzito ni shida. Maana kupata hali ya usaidizi katika serikali ni ngumu. Hakuna kitu ambayo itampitisha mpeleka katika hospitali ili apate.
Fernando Wanyonyi, the area lawmaker, wants the local administrators to provide temporary relief by relocating the victims to nearby schools.
15 families ambazo ziko ndani ya pahali meishi ni mbaya. Is not very good. It's actually very risky in terms of maji, mvua kinyesha sana Mount Elgon, anaweza akawa swept away. Nataka wahamie kwa primary school ambayo the nearest hapa.
Mheshimiwa Uhuru na waziri wako na baraza la mawaziri, hii forest yenye iko hapa Kitale town, situhamishe hiyo miti kuja hapa na hii watu waenda hapa.
The residents are also counting huge losses after losing a number of their livestock and farm produce. Boniface Barasa, TV47, Uyeta Maridadi area, Kwanza Sub-County, Trans Nzoia County.
Cane farmers from Western region are fearful that the Sugarcane Task Force recommendation will be implemented soon before their concerns have been addressed. The farmers have also taken a swipe at politicians from the region, saying that they have been giving empty promises to the farmers. They are now urging the government to give the current managing directors in the public sugar companies time to run the factories before leasing them out, as Wanji Sustin reports.
Despite of tabling the cane task force before President Uhuru Kenyatta, farmers are now expressing fear over what they term as empty promises by politicians. Ibrahim Juma is the chairman of Cane Farmers Association, Kenya National Federation of Sugarcane Farmers.
Tunasema ya kwamba zile regulations iwe in place, na juzi tena tumetengeneza Sugar Act na tukaangalia na tukatosheka na kwamba hiyo Sugar Act iwe implemented, ipeleke bungeni, iwe gazetted ili wakulime wapumue. Mimi nataka kusema hata tufanye mikutano 10, hata tufanye mikutano 20, kama ile shida ya watu wakulima wa miwa haijatatuliwa, kama sheria and order haijaletwa kwa sugar industry, kama hii garment millers haijaangaliwa vizuri, na hiyo madeni ifutiliwe, na hiyo kazi na yaamke, na tuone ya kwamba wakulima wanaweza kupanda miwa namna gani, tutakuwa bado tunamaliza wakati.
Banning importation of sugar and the debt waiver on the public sugar factories has been a reprieve to the sugar sector, and the farmers are now calling upon government to allow local management some time to run the factories before leasing them out.
Only one factory ndio tunaona sukari yake Kenya mzima, hatujui vile inaingia, na other factory huwezi ona sukari yako kwa supermarket. Hapo tunataka uliza government ama sugar directorate, hii vitu tunatoka wapi? Tunataka all sugar industry sukari yao iingie kwa supermarket na duka ya kawaida, not only one.
Langu ni kwamba because of the Apple MD, ile kazi zile ambayo anafanya, badala ya kuliza kwa wale watu wa nje, tupe muda kidogo ili matani metoka tuone ndio
Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya, on his tour to Western Kenya sugar companies, stated that the lasting solution to the sugar sector is leasing the companies after waiving the debt.
Naona hii option ya leasing ndio nzuri, tumekaa tukaiona ni nzuri, as long as we put those conditions to make sure that your property is safe, the workers are safe, the sugarcane farmers are safe.
Wanji Sustin, TV47, Bungoma.
And Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has insisted that indeed NASA only exists on paper. Kalonzo's party on Monday resolved that the NASA coalition was dysfunctional, and Wiper will now concentrate on strengthening their working relationship with Jubilee, but the final decision will be made by the party's National Delegates Council. He spoke to my colleague Liz Mutuko in the last, of course, evening, and this is what she compiled.
Na nadhani kwamba urithi wa kisiasa ambao Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta atakabidhi nchi hii ni vile alianzisha vita hivyo. This is what you would call kwa Kiingereza a low hanging fruit. Hii apigane naye kwa sababu inaonekana kwa upande wa affordable housing amba manufacturing, COVID imeharibu mambo mengi. Lakini ufisadi bado tunauona. Mahali ananusia kwamba hapa mfisadi huyu ashikiliwe. Kuna kijana anaitwa Kinoti, mwingine anaitwa Haji. Hao vijana wapatiwe support kubwa kabisa.
Wakati ambapo nyinyi mmetia saini, chama cha NASA ama muungano wenu wa NASA umebakia wapi wakati ambapo nyinyi mmeamua, kila chama kimeamua kufanya kazi na chama kingine na haswa chama tawala cha Jubilee? Bado unaweza kusema bado NASA ipo?
NASA ipo, lakini inaonekana tu iko pale kwa vile tuliweka mkataba saini na tukapeleka kwa msajili wa vyama bado hiyo mkataba huo huko. Na ndio jana baraza kuu ni delegates, wao watakuja kuamua, kisha baadaye kama Wiper inaweza kujiunga kikamilifu na Jubilee na kutia sasa mkataba wa coalition. Na uwezi kuwa chama akiwezi kuwa mwanachama wa coalitions mbili. Ndio tukafanya uamuzi kwamba tufanye cooperation. Na hii ni technical language kwa sababu cooperation na coalition tofauti. Bado sisi tuko pamoja na wenzetu wana NASA kwa huo mkataba, lakini shida nilionayo na zote tuko nayo ni kwamba viongozi wenyewe hatujawahi kukutana tangu uchaguzi wa 2017. Huwezi basi kusema kwamba NASA mpo na mkutani, kila mtu ana.
All right, that was a very good interview with Elizabeth Mutuku. You can always grab it, of course, on our social media platforms, TV47 on YouTube. You can see that and get the bigger picture of the interview. A section of men from Uasin Gishu County and residents have called for balance in the empowerment of youths, saying that continued empowerment of the girl child will eventually lead to marginalization of the boy child, leading to rifts between the two genders. Now, Calvin Chitu attended a community empowerment training for men in Kamuyu within Uasin Gishu and brings you the details.
At Kamuyu PCAA Church in Burnt Forest, a group of men of different ages from different communities converge for a 4 days sensitization training on how they can mitigate gender-based violence at the community level.
Training community members on issues pertaining to gender-based violence, and with a very special interest or a bias on working with men and boys towards the mitigation of gender-based violence incidences.
During the training that was organized by the Community Education and Empowerment Center, male negative attitude towards women leadership in various spheres was raised as a major factor hindering their potential.
It is a matter of supporting each other for us to rise up together as both the males and the females within the community.
Deeply rooted cultural beliefs and stereotypes against women are other factors barring women from active participation in elective leadership positions.
Kwangu mimi kitu yenye itakuwa ngumu ni ile hali kuachiwa mtoto nilee nyumbani.
But as several mitigation measures to empower women and the girl child are embraced, some men are raising concern that the trend could eventually falter the relations between the two genders.
Boy child, to some extent, according to my view, is becoming somewhat extinct and endangered species, but we need to pull up the balance.
Sijui wanaogopa sababu inaonekana ni mwenye nguvu mpishe, mwenye matusi mpishe, na wanaume kwa matusi kwenye siasa wanaelewa sana. Kwa hivyo sijui wa mama ni nini inawafuta sana sababu siasa za hapa huwa ni za namna hiyo, kuharibiana majina.
Several women leaders in the grassroots in Burnt Forest have also been trained in curbing gender-based violence and strategies to employ in order to increase their participation in elective leadership positions.
The law dictates that at least a third should be of either gender. So to fulfill this obligation, sometimes when women are called upon to take up certain positions, they are not able to. They do not have the capacity. They have not been sensitized to be leaders. And also, of course, there is resistance from the men.
Calvin Chitwa, TV47, Uasin Gishu County.
And in 5 minutes or so, let's take a look at what has been captured on the newspapers. The front page of the Standard newspaper: schools in ruins with bushes, camps and thieves on the prowl. And without security, thugs are breaking into schools that are now ghost centers with, of course, tickets, cows grazing in the fields, food going bad in stores, and displaced people setting up camp, as has been captured on page 6 and 7. And I'm sure you must be, of course, relating to this. If you have a school nearby where you stay, then you could understand what could be happening. Some of them have transformed this, the full fields, as places where they can go and just do their exercises and everything. So clearly something needs to be done in regards to ensuring that our schools are in best shape. Question is, how best are our students going to get their schools and the reading materials, and if it's boarding schools, their stuff or the stuff that they left in school. And also a different story here, the biggest story as captured on the Standard newspaper, where the COVID-19 billions are hidden and locked out. Only 13.3 billion of the 156.7 billion released to jumpstart the economy in March has found its way into the ordinary Kenyan's pocket. So the rest, 143.4 billion, has been stashed in banks, and of course by rich individuals and corporates, as captured on page 2, extensively expounded on page 2 of the Standard newspaper, just giving an outbreak, or not an outbreak, as a break of how exactly these monies have been channeled or where they have gone, as of course captured right there on the front page. And a different story altogether. It's pretty much unfortunate because yes, the argument on ground is that probably after COVID-19 or post-COVID-19, numerous Kenyans or numerous people will have grown rich out of the monies that they have fleeced from the common mwananchi's coffers in terms of dealing with COVID-19, which is pretty much unfortunate. And here also, and extensively expounded on page 21, is on the Waiguru saga. Waiguru faces EACC detectives in probe over county graft claims. Remember, upon being vindicated by the Senate, they proceeded to call upon the EACC to address this particular issue, to look into that case as presented by the MCAs and see whether indeed there is a bit of gross misconduct, or the allegations that were leveled against her were genuine at all. So yes, they have delved deep into doing this, even as we talk of the stalemate that is still ongoing in terms of how monies are supposed to be used at the level of the county, and are getting that tough time as presented by the MCAs. And on Matter Sport, Wanyama scores big for Kenya. There you go. Expounded some more later on the sports edition of the Standard newspaper. You can cross over and get to see what exactly is there. July salary boom for health staff. There's also a problem there on the health, of course, docket, where most of the health workers have argued that the government has not done them justice in any way in terms of the insurances, of course, covers, and also the fact that they've not been presented by proper, PPEs, and, for the matter of ensuring that at least they're taken care of at this time when there is COVID-19. And crossing over to the People Daily just to see what has been captured on the front page a little bit more clear. Alarm over new county hotspots, and Kiambu, which recorded 274 cases as of yesterday in the past 1 week, and Machakos and Kajiado have recently registered a sharp increase in infections thanks to the removal of travel restrictions and illegal bar operations, as captured on page 6 extensively. And as many would have argued, maybe these are counties that are pretty much close to Nairobi, and indeed we've seen people crossing over to these other sides. Clearly, probably, justifying why it is that all of a sudden these counties are registering these cases as of now. And 907 proximity to COVID-19 ravaged Nairobi. And in Kiambu, we are talking about 907 cases so far. So, and carefree activities by individuals engaged in beer drinking behind closed bars also is one thing that should be blamed for the same. In Kajiado, there are 774 cases so far. And of course, influx of truck drivers is one thing that has been attributed from this. These truck drivers from Tanzania across the porous Namanga border, and an influx of Nairobi residents, a reason for upsurge. And crossing over to Machakos, which has 512 cases so far, frequent movements of people to and from Nairobi, where a significant number of its residents work and do business responsible. So there you go, as captured on the front page, and also giving us a picture of the numbers that we have so far. 14,805, as I had earlier mentioned, and of course these are the total cases that we have so far in the country. 6,757 recovered so far, 260 deaths recorded so far, and the samples that have been tested, 273,000 samples have been tested so far since, of course, we recorded the first case. And also A story here that is of interest, captured on page 2 extensively. CS Macharia now bungled 60 billion shillings on Matters Health Project. This is according to the former Attorney General, that is Githu Muigai, who tells Senate that the ministry ignored the state law office when signing lease agreements with 5 companies. That's pretty much unfortunate, just spelling out what could have happened in regards to this particular project. Even as I've said earlier on, Elizabeth Mutugo had an extensive interview with Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, and alongside here a picture of the NASA principals, and of course who were the NASA principals, or so to speak, in what they say. Which way NASA? This is the question. The unmarking of a coalition, or unmasking, whichever way you'd want to look at it, and 4 affiliate parties give conflicting verdicts on a current status of opposition. Outfit still talks on the fact that maybe we do not have an opposition now that we had Right Honorable Raila Odinga handshaking with President Uhuru Kenyatta, and so far it is good for them. And Musalia Mudavadi keeps check, and it is that NASA is there according to the memorandum or the paper agreements that they heard. And Mutangula is still not so clear on whether indeed NASA is in existence or not. But as it is, Kalonzo Musyoka's move, or the Wiper move recently on, dropping the fact that they are part and parcel of NASA, saying that it is dysfunctional, and crossing over officially to Jubilee Party to say that he is going to ensure that he spearheads activities, not really spearheads, but he tightens the activities that are ongoing between him and Jubilee Party, or him and the president, to ensure that they are able to give service to the common mwananchi, a clear indication that he has ditched NASA coalition in what he says only exists on a paper. So we are waiting to see what will happen in regards to the same, as we wait for clear, communication as to whether indeed NASA still holds water or not. Those are the front pages of the key stories newspapers that I have. So we'll be crossing over for a short break, and later on we come back with more on the current affairs segment. Betty Adera will be joining me as we expound some more on these topics that we'll have picked. I'll update you on the same later on. Keep calling us, keep sending in those messages as we sample them as we continue. Welcome back to the broadcast. And what's happening on the road? I am here with the map to take you through what exactly is happening across different parts of Nairobi. And it looks like it's not as bad, of course, on matters traffic this morning. Nairobi right here, we can get Westlands, we can see Karura Forest, we can see Muthaiga, Ruaraka, Kisumu Ndogo, that is Umoja, Donholm. We have Nairobi West, South Silanga. So let's zoom in a bit and take a look at what is happening in terms of, traffic there. So we are here at Loresho and Kawangware. Again, not so bad in terms of traffic. And normally, this is how we say it. When you see the green one and the amber, you know that traffic is not as bad. When you start getting the red one and some bit of maroon is heavy traffic. With red is when traffic is starting to build up. So clearly, there's not so much of traffic right there. And I think I disappeared to a different direction. Okay, yes, here we are to Nairobi County and Kiambu County, Ruaraka, Ndenderu, Gigiri, the United Nations, Singira, Karura Forest. I don't think there's anything much to do in terms of checking on the traffic this morning. Garden City Mall, Thika Road is always terrible, and you can see it's not as bad right there. And of course, growing all the way to town, coming to Kasarani on this other side, Mwiki, Githurai, is not so bad in terms of traffic. Ngomongo on this other side, Outer Ring Subway Station is also not so bad. Juja Road is right here to Moi Air Base here all the way, not so bad. Here comes Muranga Road and where they get to meet with Juja Road, not so bad. Of course, in terms of traffic, Muthaiga is also not so bad. Parklands right here where we are is also not so bad. Where is this? Where there's a bit of traffic trying to build up is Nairobi around Upper Hills area. And this is Mbagathi Way all the way to South B. And yes, that's where there's some bit of traffic. It's starting to build up, but it's not so bad. It's not so consistent as so you need not to worry. But then again, you need to be cautious. And of course, Makadara, also some bit of traffic right here, not so bad. This is of Donholm. Lunga is clear. Imara Daima right here, all the way to Embakasi, to the JKA, to the airport. The traffic is also not so bad. Syokimau right here, not so bad. And I think going all the way to Mlolongo, all the way Mombasa Road down there, as you cross over to a different place, to Athi River. Yes, the roads are not so bad this morning. So just in case something comes up, I'll be here to update you. I'll also be taking a look at some of the tweets from the road users this morning. In the event that we notice anything that is unusual, we'll be here to ensure that you're updated. And I carry my stuff all the way crossing over to a different segment. Like I had said earlier on, we'll be taking a look at what is happening on matters current affairs. So we look at all this and what we have touched on. Joining me this morning, Betty Adera, like I had said earlier on, to take us through what exactly is happening and some of the stories that we have picked on. Betty, good morning.
Good morning, Linda. How are you?
I'm good. You well?
I'm well, thank you.
Happy to have you this morning.
Asante.
And there's not so much of, heavy news so far, but then again, we cannot always lack issues to discuss. It's important that we take a look at some of these issues and, what is taking center stage. And that's exactly why we're here, or that's exactly what we're going to do on this current affairs segment. And as we take a look at these stories that have been taking center stage, what is still happening in regards to the issue of Kirinyaga, what is also happening right here as we deal with COVID-19. Looking at COVID-19 in the country, first of all, before we even delve deep into these discussions where we'll be taking a look at how much the bar owners are crying foul, all this is courtesy of COVID-19 and, why the Madaraka, courts have been closed so far, temporarily, and, why the president decided to reschedule the meeting after the COG requested that, saying that, they will have proper report come Monday. Those are the key things that we'll be looking at. But we ask, COVID-19 situation in the country, we keep taking a look at how far we are and what it is that we have done. What do you make of how far we are, or how far we've come?
Thank you, Linda. In terms of COVID-19 pandemic, this is a topic or an issue that's here to stay, that will be with us, for the longest time ever. And I think it behooves everyone, every Kenyan alive on Kenyan soil today, to adhere to the provisions that have been put by the Ministry of Health in Kenya, and even more importantly, as augmented by His Excellency, the President. Mm-hmm. Now, following his last address to the nation regarding COVID-19, we observed that he opened up the country. He opened up movement. Within the country, we were able to see some domestic flights, beginning to resume. And that was a good gesture, in his wisdom to balance, the healthcare of the people, but also the economics. Because at the end of the day, when the economics crumble, you will not have anything to feed, to feed the people on. And we need to be in a process where we are beginning to normalize life and we are beginning to live with this particular virus. But the tragedy, Linda, is that you and I, Kenyans of all walks of life, Kenyans of all socioeconomic status, Kenyans, even those in leadership. The question is, to what extent are we taking the directives of the president seriously? Like I have said before on this show and on many other shows, the president is not going to take COVID-19 away from Kenya. The CS for Health, CS Kagwe, is not going to take COVID-19 away from Kenya. It's going to take you and I, it's going to take all of us pulling together, in the right direction, insofar as observing to the strictest levels possible the provisions that have been put for us: wearing masks, sanitizing, hand washing, practicing, social distancing, and then, of course, what to do the minute you start feeling as if you may be having COVID-19-like, symptoms. Looking at the daily projections, the daily numbers of those who have been newly infected, the numbers of those who have been, tested, the numbers of those, God forbid, have passed away, and the numbers of those who have recovered. For me, I begin to feel, I'm confident that the government is in control, the national government is in control. The extent to which our county health systems are prepared for this is story for another day. But I believe that with the expanded testing, expanded mass testing, that we're beginning to see, across the country, not only on the hotspot counties, I think that is a good step, in the right direction, because except you test someone and you get to know their status, you might never know, if you need help. And if you need help, at what stage of the disease progression, in your body. If you show up to the health facility already very sick and not being able to breathe, perhaps your chances of survival get slimmer and slimmer. But my message is here today, Linda, is that if there's an issue we should not politicize, it is COVID-19. If there's an issue for once as Kenyans we need to take very, very seriously, it is COVID-19.
But it's almost impossible or inevitable to, politicize the issues of COVID-19 based on what we see today. Before we even take a look at, a report that has been presented by one of the research, bodies right here in the country, Intel Research Solutions. The other day, we were told that there's been a cabinet shutdown and that there was a directive by the president that, cabinet secretaries should not move around because of the cases that have been recorded, first of all, in cabinet, the talks that have been ongoing, that there are 2 CSs that had tested positive. And then today, we are getting a different report that the president says, no, I did not say such a thing. I think that was misplaced, and lots of other, misplaced communications that we get. And the question is, with all this doublespeak, how best can we even trust that the government is in control?
For me, I want to believe that His Excellency the President, as head of state, has a team of professionals, has a team of health advisors who are informing him, I believe, minute by minute in terms of what's going on in the country, in terms of the progression, in terms of how we are doing well or how we are not doing well. And I want to believe as head of state, it behooves him, also to listen to and follow the advice given to him by his advisors. But remember, at the end of the day, the buck stops with him. Now, in terms of, what he said regarding the cabinet shutdown and all that, for me, that's not even the issue. The issue to me, and the issue that we need to reinforce here, Linda, is that COVID-19 is not a respecter of persons. We have seen people in big names, coming down with the flu. We've also seen small names coming down with the flu. In terms of deaths, we have seen people who no one can believe that right now they are 6 feet under just in the name of COVID. And of course, we also had the other day, on media, and my condolences to the former CS of Health, Cecily, for losing her daughter to this particular pandemic. So this pandemic.
Just a moment right there. We're not able to get you very clear. I guess it's a bit of a tweak. Let's see whether we can be able to fix those sound. But yes, we're here discussing about COVID-19, the numbers, the surge that we see, and how much it has been of effect to different sectors. And right now, talking about that directive that there's a shutdown on Martha's cabinet, but then again, of course, taking up that and saying that this is not the case because, yes, government officials are essential caregivers and they should traverse the country, in addressing these other issues that cannot stall up just because we're dealing with COVID-19. And we're having Betty Adera expounding some more on that. And like I said earlier on, we'll be touching on key issues. For instance, what we saw yesterday, bar owners crying foul and arguing that, this is not a move that is fair, especially then when they're being witch hunted on almost across, that it should be an individual witch hunt, or not really witch hunt, actually, should be an individual punishment and nothing to do with the rest of the others that are trying their best to comply. Betty, just to loop you back also, as we keep expounding on the double speak, I think you'll come in and finish up on your point, but also importantly, we cross over to that report that was brought on board by Intel Research Solutions. And, just managing this or just trying to balance this and taking a look at the political implications that have come along with COVID-19. So how about you finish up on the point that you were raising and we cross over to that?
Yes, I was saying that I was just reiterating the point that COVID-19 is not a respecter of persons. And for me, I would urge His Excellency, the President, to do all in his power, to keep us safe. If it means shutting down all cabinet meetings, so be it. If it means shutting down all his meetings with his governors, so be it. If that's gonna keep us safe. So this is not a time to point fingers at who. This is not even a time to say which report is legit, which one is not. The bottom line is that we all have a duty. We all have a responsibility, to keep ourselves safe, to keep our brothers safe, to keep our families safe, and ultimately to follow the instructions that we are being given by the Ministry of Health, but even more importantly, as advised by His Excellency, the President.
All right, and this report, or the research that was conducted by Intel Research Solutions, just raising on board, or just trying to compare the issues of politics right here. So we would want to call it, politics and COVID-19 right now. And this research, or better, the statistics that have been conducted from different Kenyans, they raise their own interests and what their views are like, of course, in different issues. For instance, the BBI, about 40-something there, 47 about there, say that they will support the BBI. I mean, they've not hit the 50% mark. And also, arguing that, there's some governors that are performing so well. And most of the governors that have been captured are the likes of, the governors that have been there for the second time. And the question would be, why is it that they are performing so well? Is it because they have gotten the gist of matters, devolution, or is it because they acknowledge that it's their last laps and maybe they know very well that, well, this is the last laugh, let's just laugh it best and cross over to the next assignment that will be there. The likes of, that is Machakos Governor, Alfred Mutua, Makueni Governor, Kivutha Kibwana, the likes of Wycliffe Oparanya. They have been mentioned as governors that have performed so well, Mwangi wa Iria. I mean, when you look at this and this report that has come on board, how genuine is it in terms of, what is literally on the ground?
Thank you, Linda, for that particular question. Well, Martha's devolution, remember we are heading to almost 10 years, of devolution. And while devolution in itself was one of the greatest things that ever happened, to us as Kenyans, it brought services mashinani, or should have brought services mashinani, resources mashinani, an engagement with leadership at mashinani level. Now, the big question is, to what extent, has devolution been a success across the 47 counties? Sadly, Linda, from where I sit, I would not say that all the 47 counties are on the same level, are on the same plane, in terms of meeting the needs of their people. And now with COVID-19 pandemic, that is not even helping. it is true that a governor who is in his second term, is more likely to have produced better results, with a keen eye on leaving a legacy at their county's leadership. But we also know tons of governors who are actually in their second term, and we are finding that their second terms are actually worse off. They're going to leave their people worse off 10 years after occupying such a seat. Compared to how they started. So for me, I think the issue of governance is a critical one, a critical discussion within even the BBI. And I believe that as Kenyans, we all need to propose that the whole system goes a step further and set standards, set minimum standards for governors to meet, whether you are in your term 1 or you are in your term 2, because at the end of the day, Kenya as a community, as a country, is never going to grow if only parts of it are developing and other parts, are lagging behind. We all need to be moving forward, in the right direction, of course, respectful enough of the contextual differences and contextual challenges, but as a leader in your own county, you come from there, you know your people best, you know your issues best. How is it that other governors are performing better than others? Remember, even just connecting this to COVID-19 pandemic, His Excellency, the President, initially said that he's not going to open up a movement within the country until he is satisfied that at county level, they have put up the correct systems, that would be able to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic at county level. But sadly, even today, as we sit here, Linda, are all the 47 counties ready for an expanded outbreak of the pandemic? I am afraid so.
And of course, we'll be delving deep into understanding that and why, of course, the CUG prompted the president to proceed and postpone that meeting, reschedule it to Monday. But also, this research shows that Kenyans are in dire need of, a different political system. Not really a political system, but, different leaders, especially at the level of the presidency. And, just naming their preferred candidates, Ruto taking the day as, of course, the most preferred, and then followed by Raila and the others. And, of course, with a huge gap in terms of the margin that has been named there. First of all, just how much focused are Kenyans on matters politics right now as it stands? I mean, has it driven us to that point whereby, yes, we are desperate of COVID-19 and we feel like it's the leadership that has failed us, hence there's need for a change?
Yes, that's an interesting one, and I'd just like to say that, yes, it is true. Even from my own knowledge, my own engagements with women, young and old, with youth, male, female, and also with the elderly at mashinani level, I'm telling you, what I keep hearing is people saying they are tired, people are hungry, people want their lives back, people are saying we are used to hard life, but even now that hard life, we can't, go on and do the things that we need to do. I mean, seeing all this violence, gender-based violence that's coming up, at the household level, community level, the teenage pregnancy, it's all a mess, at the grassroots level. But again, if you go on with that conversation and ask, so what do we do and who's responsible? Of course, people will always point fingers at someone else. And at this level, they are pointing fingers at their leaders, especially the elected ones, right from the MCA, all the way up. You hear someone complaining about the MCA, another one about the MP, about their women rep, about their governor, and that list, really goes on. And in some cases, you also hear them saying that, but if a whole senator can do this, why are we being the ones, who are being locked up, in the houses? Does it mean that these laws that have been put in place, are applicable in a manner that is not consistent, depending on who you are or depending on your socioeconomic status? So there's a lot of conversation, going down at that level. But the bigger question is COVID-19 a political issue? Yes, because one, it touches on budgets. New monies needed to have been found because COVID is a new thing, across the globe. Secondly, the whole issue of, economics. Economics is a political issue as well. Economics right from the household level, community, all the way up into the economy of an entire country, like ours. Now, in terms of, political meetings and political engagements, we are beginning to see also a lot of drama in terms of of what's going on, in that particular place.
Yeah.
So people are actually pointing fingers, and probably rightly so. And I think it just behooves the leadership of the country, including myself, to just get out and educate people more and reassure people some more. And I also keep hearing at grassroots level, people cannot wait, for 2022 to come so that they change, leadership. They want new faces, they want fresh faces, they want, like we are tired of so-and-so, we are not tired of so-and-so. But at the end of the day, I want to believe all leaders at all levels, especially elected, whether you're in your term 1 or term 2 or your last term or you can extend, everyone is concerned about leaving a legacy. But I think the know-how is a big challenge for many.
On the very same report, complaints are that Kenyans are highlighting some of the issues that they are grappling with, and some of the issues that they are expressing displeasure on are unemployment, corruption, high cost of living, most pressing issues that, of course, Kenyans are dealing with. Corruption and all this, of course, has got everything to do with the leadership and the people who are at the top of the helm. Before we even look at that, I mean, you have mentioned the need that sometimes it's important, when people look around, you've probably tried this person and it's not working well, then you actually think it's important to try the next person, see whether we can have able Kenyans out of, the loss that we have within the civilians or the loss that we have within the citizens. And the question then I would want to raise this morning is just what is the problem? Is it with the leadership or the structures or the laws that we put on board? Because you realize, again, the talk of BBI, came on board on this one. And the argument on ground is that, yes, there are numerous Kenyans who would be willing to support the BBI, probably because there's a general feel that some of the clauses that are enshrined in the Constitution are not addressing the issues that we are facing. Hence the reason why at some point in time there have been arguments that we do copy-paste, where we take, a constitution that is of a different country, a different place, and we want to impose it on ourselves, that it does not really address the issues that we face as a people. So when you look at the talk of BBI, in this case then, is it about the leadership? Is it about the figures that we have on board, or the lackings that we have within the laws of the land?
Thank you, Linda. Now, BBI is coming in, according to me, at the best time, at the most correct time in our country, because our constitution, which was promulgated in 2010, is almost hitting 10 years. And 10 years is a good time, to take stock, of what has worked and what has not worked, learn lessons and document best practices. Now, if you look at the BBI, it clearly points out 9 key items in there that have actually aided our country, for the longest time ever. And of course, corruption, is one of them. Divisive elections.
You want to say that the 9-point agenda will clearly take the day on the final report? Or at least that's what we expect?
I want to believe so, because if you look at the 9-point agenda, there are the issues that they mirror the issues that the common Mwananchi complains about every single day. Every 5 years when we go to elections, there's a fight. Corruption has been perennial for the longest time ever. And a lot has been said, a lot has been documented in terms of what can be done about it, whose responsibility it is, and so on. And I want to believe that then the BBI presents this domesticated, contextualized, issues, like you correctly say, that are actually eating us, so that if they are going to amend, the constitution or go to a referendum, then we are going to come up, hopefully, with something that really mirrors us, really mirrors our needs, as Kenyans. Now, something like corruption in itself. Corruption, in my view, exists because the people at the top, are doing it. There's no way an accountant will be corrupt by himself. It will take the boss to go and tell him or her that ebu nichunie 50K. And the minute you say that, you've now opened up that Pandora. So it starts with the leadership. And a lot of these things, actually, it's about leadership. So something like corruption, for instance, one of the 9-point item in the BBI, if that is correctly tackled, do you know that it's going to correct so many other things, including reducing significantly, the proportions of unemployment and the anarchy that our young people and women are actually going through, you see. So for me, I want to believe that I'm looking forward to this report with nostalgia. And I hope it's going to be a step in the right direction. It might not solve all the problems that we as Kenyans are facing, but I want to believe that to a significant level, if done the right way and executed the right way without fear, without favor, or without favoritism, then I want to believe that Kenya finally, would stand a chance to be on the right plane for takeoff towards development.
We would have expected the final report, pretty much earlier. But as it is, the opposition within government, that is Team Tanga Tanga, says that the BBI report as of now is being doctored. Of course, doctored to favor the few individuals that are fronting it. I mean, when the final one comes, when the report comes, do you suppose you'll have the confidence to go through it and believe that indeed this is for the best of the interest of the Kenyans, especially looking at the time lapses, the timelines that we've had before, and the fact that the task force has not been able to present this report after all up until now?
Well, Linda, people must talk. People can talk, people should talk, and people are free.
But don't you think it's a valid concern, looking at the timelines, looking at the fact that we would have expected this report a long time ago?
That's correct. But remember, Linda, by the time the conversation around BBI, started, and even the release of the first report, we did not have COVID-19. And when COVID-19 came as a global pandemic that's hitting us really hard, as a developing country, of course, then COVID-19 became priority. Yeah. Remember the BBI rallies that, was planned, to again solidify or gather, thoughts, of the people had to be stopped, because again, you can't gather people in the magnitude of a rally just because of COVID-19. So in terms of this delay, I want to believe that we better delay, but at the end of the day, when we get there, we get a good report. And for me, I wouldn't even propose that we get back into the heightened political temperatures of a BBI, because COVID-19 is a priority, and they need to figure out other ways of continuously, to engage Kenyans. Now, in terms of is the document being doctored, this is not a new narrative. Remember, even before the first one was formally released, how many other versions, were running on social media?
And very many.
Yes, you didn't know which one was true and which one was not, except go to the official website of the team, that was concerned. But the beauty of this, and that gives me as a woman leader, confidence, is that the document was brought back to us. It was brought back to Kenyans across the countries. Kenyans of all walks of life, Kenyans representing various sectors got a chance, to say that no, this one is not, this one is, Toai, Wekai, even private sector, even religious community, like everyone, in my view, was actually involved. And I wonder, to what extent that someone would then be so evil, to go ahead and doctor what Kenyans have said and give us what we did not say. So for me, I have full confidence in this particular process, and I want to be patient, to just wait and see. At the right time, they're going to release, the official final. And it doesn't mean that even if they release the official final, that's the end of the discussion. The BBI conversation is going to be one that's going to be with us for a while. And of course, I just urge us all that as we are converging in dialogue around issues within the BBI, let us converge with a view to make better, not with a view to scatter.
All right. Well, that's a great view right there. And I would want to delve deep into, just discussing the levels of unemployment, the high cost of living, because this is a conversation we've had for the longest of time. Even before COVID-19, we still were grappling with unemployment. We still were grappling with issues to do with the high cost of living. We can only hope that indeed such reports that are coming on board, like BBI, would come in to address the same for the best of course, the people and the future of the country. And BBI, COVID-19 has come with lots of repercussions. Every other time we're picking lessons, every other time we're grappling, every other time we're complaining about issues. So we'll be taking a look at some 2-3 key issues that have happened, lately in regards of course, how best we've been dealing with COVID-19 in the country and the measures that have been put on board. And now, bar owners are crying foul. This is in regards to the reports that was coming, or the report that was coming from the Ministry of Health. At some point in time in Kiambu, we've seen Governor Nyoro declaring that all the bars bars should not operate, should be closed down, because then when people are going out there to enjoy their drink, they're also flouting COVID-19 rules. And by the way, bars were supposed to be closed anywhere across the country. I do not understand why they're still in operation, and it leaves us wondering just how much is the government focused on ensuring that they are getting the people to go by what has been stipulated in terms of, measures for us to deal with COVID-19. So the bar owners are out here and the restaurant owners coming out to say that, you know what, in as much as you'd want us, closed, in as much as you are punishing us, I mean, there are few of us who have tried our level best, have put so much money towards ensuring that we are able to abide by what the government says. So if you lock us down, if you deny us the chance to business, then it means it's unfair, because we are not flouting the rules. Why don't you deal with the few that are flouting the rules on individual perspectives? What do you make of that?
Thank you, Linda. Now, if you recall, even when the government was thinking about opening up hotels, and there were restrictions that were and guidelines that were put, they all cried foul. All right, and right now we are having bartenders doing the same thing, crying foul. From government perspective, I want to believe that the restrictions and guidelines have been put clearly. Like if you want to open up, we are not saying no to that, we are saying yes to that, but as long as you follow 1, 2, 3, 4 conditions, just open up and continue. But remember, Linda, it only takes one rotten tomato, to make the entire basket of tomatoes look like they're rotten. So I want to believe that there are a few culprits, within the bar/entertainment sector that are actually causing a mess, for the rest. And specifically in Kiambu County, remember, this is a county that has struggled with alcoholism, for the longest time ever, and alcoholism that is not related to COVID-19 at all. This is an issue that has been there. Now, let's look at this in a realistic way. What type of bars are we talking about here? Are we talking about a bar right within, the neighborhood, ndani? Are we talking about, spaces where they brew, the changa, ndani? Or are we talking about a posh bar, in the mainstream town of Thika? Now, for this particular county, I want to believe it may as well just be safe, just for the interest of the public, for the interest and safety, of the public, to just say, hey, anything that smells like a bar, can we pause for a while and just figure things out? But I would go ahead and, implore, the leadership of Kiambu County at county level, to not be as punitive, but to be as educative and to be as supportive. Because even if you have a small little bar and you can only seat 2 people, that's your business. And as long as you abide by the national, regulations that have been put for bars, then you should actually be in a position to be allowed to. But perhaps we are talking about a county that, first of all, doesn't even know how many bars they have. Perhaps doesn't even have evidence of where these particular bars are. And they're seeing everyone drunk, by 10 o'clock in the morning, and you ask yourself, so these ones, walikunywa wapi? And the bars are, closed and all that. So I'm just thinking that this particular county and several other counties as well just need to delve deeper, just engage these people and get to learn what their frustrations are. If it is an issue of not being as informed or as made aware, do that, provide the information, provide the support. But for those who are able to abide by, they, in my personal view, they should be allowed, to operate. And
as many would say, sometimes it is funny how when you see them doing bad, you choose to join them as opposed to condemning that. And I mean, also the responsibility squarely lies on the few bars that would love to be in operation and have, gone ahead to ensure that they do what it is that is stipulated by the government. I think it's incumbent upon them to also look around and, get those ones that are flouting the laws and, call them out and stop them from doing this. That way it will become easy, because then, of course, we also know the importance of this and how much it is of importance to reviving the economy. And that aside, the other several crucial places in the country that are closing down courtesy of COVID-19. This is not something that we probably did not expect. We expected, but did we just prepare enough to counter this or to deal with this? Madaraka Court yesterday being the latest to close down. This could be temporarily, but in the event that it is not handled well, it will mean, closing down for the longest of time. We've seen what has happened to Pumwani And these cases continue going up. We've seen what has happened, of course, operations being minimized at the level of State House and so much so. So when you look at this scenario, what picture does it paint? What kind of image does it paint for us, especially in terms of how we prepare ourselves, in terms of how we are focused, especially at the level of government, in dealing with this issue of COVID-19 and ensuring that our key institutions stay afloat?
I think you lead. COVID-19 shocked the entire world. I don't think there's any country that was as prepared. Even the Western countries, the very, very developed countries, was not as prepared, was just taken by surprise, just like we are. We have seen huge deaths, huge numbers of infections on a daily basis in America, across Europe, across South America, the Asian countries, all these countries that are much, much more, developed than us. So coming to Kenya, like the rest of the world, no one, was prepared for this. And remember, this was a fresh new virus that was not known, in the health science world. And every single day, the experts and the scientists are still unveiling information about what this virus is and what it actually is not. And seeing the WHO providing, guidance on a day-to-day basis as more information is known about the virus. Now, coming back to Kenya, again, nobody prepared us for this. The minute we had like 4 infections and then they became 10 and then they became 20, we still did not know as much as what we know, right now. And for me, I am actually excited about how the Ministry of Health at the national level is beginning to use evidence to zero down, on areas that are more hotspot, but others that are hot spots, compared to others in terms of not just at a county level, but also as a neighborhood level. So if Madaraka courts need to be shut down, let it be shut down. But look at Madaraka Court. Madaraka Court is not a slum. Madaraka Court doesn't have, like the lowest class, of Kenyans in there. And if they're the same ones who need to be locked out, then for me that signifies quite a number of things. Are people as informed? If they are, to what extent are they taking the information they're receiving seriously? To what extent are people being their brother's keepers? Because if you can shut down Madaraka, then what will you do with Kibra? What will you do with Kangemi? What will you do with Mukuru? We saw, recently, Eastleigh, was sort of like isolated and locked down. So I'm thinking that this is actually a pointer that except we really as a people, turn around and take this thing seriously and take the provision seriously, then we could still be in for the rudest shock of our lives.
All right. Yeah. Okay, well, we wait to see what will happen in the same. But as it is, it has closed down for 14 days. Of course, fumigation will be ongoing down there, and the sessions will be carried out by 2 individuals, Linda being amongst them. And we follow up on this particular one as we update you accordingly. But it's quite unfortunate. And like Betty says, it's important that we take caution and we know what is expected of us. Now, let's cross over to a different one. And we take a look at how much more the president had to push this meeting that was set for tomorrow, and this was supposed to be debated upon alongside the counties in regards to how much we are prepared as a people. So looking at the counties, just how much have we fared on in regards to COVID-19, and why is it that this burden is in a huge way squarely being leveled on the shoulders of the counties? One would have argued then that probably this is supposed to be dealt with at the national level, but again, health is a devolved unit. So is there some bit of confusion on how we're dealing with this? And even if they hit the 300 mark of bed capacity, do we still have the health facilities in the best of shape to address this? Kiambu has surpassed the 3,000 capacity beds that we're talking about, but look, the numbers are shooting up by the day.
So Linda, the minute the president opened up travel, within the country, we can now be sure that COVID is in every corner of this country, is in every village of this country. while, there were hotspot counties such as Nairobi, Mombasa, and so on, very soon, if some miracle doesn't happen, we are going to begin to see many more counties that need to be put in the category, of hotspot. And remember, in the rural areas, that's where we have a huge number of the elderly, a huge number, let me say, of those who would be more vulnerable, to COVID-19 infection compared to others, especially like the elderly.
Yeah.
All shows, the women, the men, where are they? They're out there, in the rural. Now, back to the other issue in terms of preparedness at county level. You correctly say that actually health is a devolved function, and the national level, I want to believe, has just come in because this is a pandemic of a global nature. So, of course, direction and leadership needs to come in, from a national level, because this is something new. Nobody knew as much, about it. But on the other hand, Linda, it has actually exposed to us, in broad daylight, just how fragile and unprepared our health systems at county level are. Even if you remove COVID-19 and put that aside, to what extent are our health systems, able to sustain the health, of their people at county, sub-county, and even ward level. Now, if you add COVID-19 into it, there were, provisions that were put and minimum standards, set for counties to be prepared to handle, to respond to people getting sick at county level. Yeah. And we're beginning to see only just a handful, not even half, of the counties have met the minimum standards. And it is actually a tragedy. So for me, I want to go back to what extent, are the counties really able, to handle, health care comprehensively and provide quality services to its people? That is a question that, for me, I'd want to see answered within the BBI. Is it a time to return back, healthcare to the national level, or, leave it at the county level? But COVID-19 has actually exposed just how fragile, just how unprepared, we are. And I want to imagine some county somewhere in Kenya, if they even get like 300 infections in a single day, or even 100, can they manage that? Do they have the systems? Do they have the healthcare workers? Do they have the manpower? Do they have the tech know-how? I think there's a big problem, but it's not a problem to cause panic. It's a problem that can be fixed, by leadership, by very, very close collaboration between county and national level health systems. Because right now, again, if we take time to point fingers and blame game, people are dying. People are being infected every single day with COVID-19. So this is a time to put our act together and say, okay, we have been exposed. This is just how weak we are. But what plans can we put in place in the immediate and short term, as well as long term, to ensure that Kenyans actually get their health rights as stipulated by the Constitution for quality health care, no matter what it is that they're suffering from.
And of course, that's one of the biggest pillars of the Big Four, as President Uhuru Kenyatta seeks to address that. All right, well, and just that the Council of Governors has requested for an extension or maybe rescheduling of the meeting to Monday. Then the question would be just what magic will they do, on what could have informed this? What is this different thing that they look to achieve in this short period of, say, 2 days, so that they can present the report to President Uhuru?
Linda, with the right kind of leadership, a day or two can make a very big difference.
Oh, yeah?
With the right kind of leadership, with that goodwill, the political goodwill, a lot can happen even within the span of 24 hours. One question I want to believe they need to answer to the president is just how prepared they are, to respond, to provide a high quality response to COVID-19 at county level as per, the request of the president. Remember, the president kept on saying, I am not opening up the country for so many times. He said that until he was certain that the counties were ready. So I want to believe one headache, the COG has is to explain to the president to what extent, are they, all 47 of them, are ready, to handle COVID-19. That is one. But another perhaps could be for them to just put their act together, get more evidence and all that, so that as they're presenting this document, the document of updates to the president, then they're giving, something very solid. But remember, even the COG themselves, as individuals, as elected leaders, they are not exempt, from COVID-19 pandemic infections. So like I said earlier, this particular virus is not a respecter of persons. So perhaps on that front, they could also still be needing time to just be sure who's who in terms of, their health status before they bring themselves all the way from across the country, and converge in one area to meet with His Excellency.
Is there something that we're not being told clearly, Betty, especially looking at how some of the leaders are acting or they're behaving in this case? Because we've complained for the longest of time that we lack proper communication in regards to COVID-19. Someone like the chair of Council of Governor, that is the Kakamega Governor, Wycliffe Oparanya, has been hands-on since day one, since the first time we recorded the first case, and has been following up on these activities day in, day out. Sometimes he wakes up and does some things that get us wondering, why has he done that? He was the first one to say that, burials were not going to be conducted the way, in the normal way. And lots of complaints and bashing came on board. But look around, this is exactly what is happening in the country. So the latest he did was to set up, the cemetery, of course, around. And everyone is like, why do you do this and everything? Yes, he says it's in preparation of ensuring that Kakamega is top-notch in, years to come. But when you look at such a scenario, is he trying to paint a picture of the fact that we are expecting worse? I don't even want to laugh about it, but you see, it's actually something that gets you trying to think outside the box. What could have informed this? Why is he so much focused on, how people are going to be laid to rest, the procedures, and why not at home and all that?
Yeah. Well, if what we see on the international scale regarding COVID-19 is anything to go by, then actually it would be naive, for any leader not to prepare, for such eventualities. We saw even in Italy, people now being buried in mass graves and being buried actually by the military. Why? Just because, the systems were just overwhelmed. There were so many deaths on a single day, coming in, and they needed to devise a way, to deal with that. So, my point is that it would actually be naive for any leader not to think about that. But in terms of how it has been interpreted, it suggests that, so you're waiting for us to die, you're expecting us to die, in such large numbers. So that's when you're preparing, a cemetery. But I want to believe, leadership across the divide, should focus more. A lot of energy and resources should be placed more on preventing, by educating people and also following up on compliance. If you're supposed to meet, no one is saying don't meet, but are you following the regulations that have been put in place for meeting, regardless of who you are? Are you following the curfew? Are you following, the social distancing everywhere you go? Are you isolating? Are you quarantining, according to, your circumstances? To me, I want to believe that all of us, leaders and the regulars, should place their emphasis on that. Because with proper education to the people, and also with proper responsibility on the part of the people to abide by, the stipulations that have been put in place, I want to believe by now, Linda, we should be seeing a flattening of the COVID-19 curve in Kenya. Okay.
Well, enough of COVID-19. And I think we've talked so much about COVID-19, and we still keep talking about it. But let's cross over to Kirinyaga and take a look at what is happening there. One would consider it as, double, triple, quadruple tragedy for Anne Waiguru, but also for the county itself. It's not so smooth, and we know very well that devolution is all about the people, and if the county is not able to function well, then it means that the people will be deprived of what is supposed to be given to them in terms of development and in terms of ensuring that, yes, this is felt by them and is of advantage to them. So you take a look at the standoff, first of all, that is ongoing at the level of the Senate in terms of the budget sharing across different counties. And now, crossing a little bit to, going a little bit down to Kirinyaga itself, still has its budgets tussle within, the county. The little that they have right now, they still are tussling over. I mean, what do you make of the events in Kirinyaga? Does it look like it will be worse and, worse than what Anne Waiguru expected?
The issue of Kirinyaga is actually a tragedy because, Linda, as all this is happening, there's a woman somewhere who needs to go and have a baby, and she cannot do that because the healthcare service, is grounding to a stall. There's a young person there who's unemployed and is hoping, to get even a tender, to do with the county government, and that is not forthcoming. There's an old shosho, an old man, old woman somewhere who's looking up to, the leadership of Kirinyaga County, for them to be able to just move from one day to the other. And when I say leadership, it's not only Anne Waiguru, but it is the entire county leadership, including the county assembly. Now, I want to say that the MCAs of Kirinyaga County spoke loudly. They spoke clearly. They did what they did, within the stipulations of the law, and they impeached, their governor. According to law, this matter came to the Senate. It was heard, and it was concluded, and it was determined. But what I kept on asking is that, so what is going to be the relationship between the governor of Kirinyaga and her MCAs, going forward for the 2 years, remaining of her term? And I am actually not surprised, to see this kind of standoffs happening day in, day out. But what I would just say is this: look, Kirinyagians, you only have 2 years to go back to the ballot to decide who your next leaders are, right from, governor to senator to MCAs, MPs and all that. And in these 2 years, do you want to spend that 2 years squabbling? Or do you want to say, okay, we made our point, the world now knows, but this is a time to pull together in one direction for the sake of development and moving forward of the people of Kirinyaga. Even those MCAs, remember, they are not just as safe. Even 2022, the ballot will face them the same way it will face Governor Waiguru if she decides to go for another term. Even the MCAs should ask themselves, what have you done for your people for the last, for this particular term that you have been in office? Or were you spending time squabbling and fighting, battles that, according to me, look like they're just battles? They might not go anywhere because you impeached your governor and she was cleared by the Senate, for lack of sufficient grounds, and she's back in office. So I just want to make a humble appeal to the leadership of Kirinyaga to put their act together, not for anything, and this would not be a show of weakness in any way, but this is to do this in the best interest of the regular Kirinyagian who is looking and waiting for services to be provided to him or to her.
All right, and of course now the MCA is calling upon Waiguru to withdraw the court petitions. This is in a bid to try and, at least salvage her integrity for that matter, or try until at least battle it out. And as many would argue, Waiguru is now that lady who has 9 lives. So looking at this, going back to the level of the Senate again, going back to seek mediation from there. I mean, at some point in time, the Senate made, vindicated Waiguru. So what are the likelihoods that the Senate again, that is struggling to see to it that it deals with the stalemate that is ongoing on county revenue share, is in a position to address this? I mean, the proceedings are continuing today. So what are the guarantees that, this is going to be resolved as soon as possible so at least the people of Kirinyaga are able to experience development?
Well, you rightly say that, Linda. However, the issue of the impeachment of Governor Anne Waiguru and the current stalemate, are completely two different things, and they're completely two different processes. One was specific to Kirinyaga County, but the current stalemate at Senate, is about the entire Kenya.
I agree, but this is the question. This is my question. Yes, I'm trying to compare the situation in the country and also what is, in a special way happening in Kirinyaga, because we know very well that this standoff has escalated to this point because of the fact of the budget that is ongoing there. The MCA is trying to withhold that, and again, the MCAs are being paid by the governors themselves. So you can imagine how this is going to be a roller coaster that might not end up anywhere good.
You correctly say that, Linda. I mean, such stalemates at county level doesn't serve any. It's never a win-win. It's actually a lose-lose. Lose-lose, for the governor herself, lose-lose for the MCAs. But so sadly, Linda, it is also a lose-lose for the people of Kirinyaga who elected all these people with the hope that within the 5 years that they'll occupy their various, positions, there would be a change for the better for the common mwananchi in Kirinyaga. But the MCAs, and the entire leadership should also be aware of the fact that they need money. Money need to be approved at the county assembly for services to happen, for things to move forward. So if you are causing a stalemate at that level, in my view, you're actually shooting yourself, in the foot. You as an MCA, you need to showcase that you're doing things, various development type of things in your ward. And if you're the same one who's, causing a budget approval process to stall or not to move forward as fast as possible just for whatever political, interest you have, then I'm thinking that is actually just a tragedy. Yeah. I would rather the MCAs were very clear on what their issue really is, so that they table it in front of Governor Waiguru. Knowing her, I want to believe even her, she is fatigued, even her, she wants this thing, to go away, even her, she wants to prove that, as the first ever, woman governor in that particular county, there was a change that her leadership caused. There's a legacy, for the last 5 years that can be tied, to her name. I want to believe she's desperate for that. Yeah. So for me, I want to think that if there's post the impeachment so that work can move on, I think that would be a step in the right direction.
All right, and of course we take a look at and follow up on the same just to see to it that we are able to update you on what will happen. And then we have like 3 minutes or so, let's say 2 minutes. What would be your parting shots in regards to what we have discussed so far and how best we can deal with COVID-19 moving forward?
I'll just say two things. One, an appeal to the Senate to have all Kenyans in mind as they are looking to resolving the revenue sharing stalemate. Yeah, the revenue sharing matter that is before them. Remember, every Kenyan, in whatever decision you make, just have that in mind, and whatever decision you will eventually come up with, let it be in the best interest, of the Kenyans who elected you. To the Senate. Lastly, on COVID-19, my fellow Kenyans, this thing is real. This is not a hoax, and this is not the time to point fingers. This is not the time to say who, and who. This is the time for you and I, all of us together, regardless of who you are, wherever you are, to say that, look, this virus is here with us, it's making people sick, and it is killing people. And it could get worse if we do not abide by the restrictions that are put in place. So please, wash your hands as at every opportunity, sanitize at every opportunity, maintain social distancing, wear your mask correctly over your nose and mouth, not on your neck. And don't do this for Srika, don't do this for the cops and all that. Do it with full knowledge that you are actually protecting yourself, protecting your family, and protecting your community.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Betty, and for the great insights. We've had, a session with you alone, but it was great. We've picked something that indeed would be of help to us, and we're looking forward to another session with you. And on that very note, we're going to wind up the current affairs segment as we cross over to a lighter note. We need to lighten up. And not to say that whatever it is that we'll be discussing is not a serious issue. Of course, it matters as fashion, and we'll be having a fashion guru, that is Emmanuel Peter. Let's see what he has in store for us. It's so much, and fashion is just too wide. So what is this special thing that Emmanuel brings on board? After this break, remember, it is pertinent that you keep interacting with us. Hashtag Morning Cafe at Linda_Lela TV47. Equally, the numbers that are rolling down on your screen, you can call us and, of course, contribute to the discussions of the day. After this break, Morning Cafe is back with more. Once again, Betty Adera, thank you so much for the great insights.
My pleasure.
Mount Kenya University takes pride in being an academic giant with
Welcome back to Morning Cafe Last Laps, and we're all about fashion. We have a fashion guru on board, but he's joining us on Skype. We keep saying that, well, COVID has taught us so much. So amid all this, we're still a soldier on, like I always say. And Emmanuel Peter is the fashionista of the day. He's going to tell us what it is that he does, what is so special about his style of fashion, or whether he has a certain niche, or maybe it's just a random one, and he pulls every other thing, and every other person would tell you that they have their special way of fashion. I personally say that anything I'd rock, anything I'd wear, anything, anytime, for as long as it's well blended. So what is Peter's way, and how impressive is it for anyone to go out there and proceed and buy? So Peter, good morning. Good morning, Peter.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good also. You're in the office, right?
Yeah.
That looks good out there. That looks good. So tell us more. Tell us more about your style. Tell us more about fashion, and what got you into fashion in the first place.
Honestly, just like any other kind of business, I would say the fashion industry has faced a hitch since COVID-19 started. The fact that we have social distancing rules, and also we don't have functions, and you asked to have minimum of 10 or 15 people in a function. It just led to decline in the number of sales we do have. So basically, we in the fashion industry are here, just like any other industry, to push through this hard period. The number of sales have gone down. Kenyans are really, they're much more focused on buying good, like food, essentials. But new clothes or attires and functions have really declined.
Why do I want to differ a bit? And I think I want us to have this conversation, because now you brought aboard a very pertinent point, and you find that there's been this clarion call that we should, buy and build Kenya, stuff that has been made by our very own, which is something that people are making baby steps to achieving. But there's also been some laxity on the same, and I'd want to ask why this morning, and also coupling it up with your argument that majority of people are not out here buying clothes and everything. But you realize that in most cases, even if we are out here buying clothes and everything, either people are going to go for the Mtumba aspect, either people are going to go out there to buy shop stuff, something that has not been made locally. What informs this? Is it that local made attires and materials are expensive, or what?
I agree with you. I agree with you when you say right now, currently, it's buy Kenya, and guys are encouraged to buy goods from us due to the fact that you don't have clothes or importation coming in from abroad. But the reality of the ground is, what are people buying? Why should they buy outfits at this moment when the government has installed fear in them? They don't know about the future. They don't know if it's good for them to host events. They're more focused on getting food items. They're more focused on surviving this hard period. So none of them is actually buying, honestly. And the ones that are buying are those the little of them who are well off, who still have the ability to hold functions, who still have the ability or the permission to hold weddings. And even those who are holding weddings in the country right now, getting even a permit, how tough it is.
Yeah. Emmanuel, are you trying to say that most of the clothes that are made locally are clothes that are just designed for events, that you cannot wake up today and say, let me just get Linda something random that she can wear in the house, that she can move around in the house, that she can just have comfortably at home, that, it has to be this coat and this nice, attire that there's no way she can wear it at home?
I'm speaking on behalf of the class that I'm in.
Yeah.
That is the young investors who we don't have a number of machine or machinery to produce goods in large. So we have young designers like us who have 3 to 4 or 5 machines. Example, like now Noel is closer to where I am at. For us, we cannot produce goods for you. I mean outfits for you to sit indoors.
Yeah. Why? Is it time to adjust now?
I don't deny the fact that Kenyans can produce outfits that you can chill with them and, do jumpsuits or, chilling outfits in the house. But those are for large-scale businesses. Those are for industrial purposes.
Yeah.
For young designers like us, who have 5 or capability of 5 employees or 4 or 3 or 2, our main aim is to do designs that are there for you to get out there, look good, customized, function-oriented events.
Mm-hmm.
And for people like us, the class that I'm in, that is the kind of the small, or I say middle businessmen that we are, that's what you're focused in.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, honestly, we've been producing masks. That is the only thing that is selling currently.
Mm-hmm.
The few people who are lucky to have permission to do functions, that is a number of less than 10. We used to do outfits for more than 15 people, either a choir, a group, or a wedding, and that will catch up for a lot of needs.
And speaking of which, I want to ask, what exactly is the style of fashion that you're in? Because I realize that numerous, styles out here. There's someone who just want to go out there and do and knit, the knitting and all that. And there's somebody else who will take a different, angle where they say, I'd want to get clothes and decent clothes for all these. There's some of them who are here with, clothes for the youngsters. Some of them are focused on Ankara. So which one in particular are you focused on?
I will say for Nwala's Closet, we're focused on anything that is about fashion and style.
Yeah.
From Ankara to velvets to suit designs to even pull necks. So we're focused on anything that is about fashion and stylish.
Mm-hmm.
Because anything that we put on right now, currently, it is tailored. And the fact that it is tailored, or we import them, even though they're imported, where we import them from, they are tailored too. So here what you do is, we do tailored to fit designs. You can see behind me we have like an Ankara coat.
Yeah.
We have cut and a chiffon top.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, we do anything that is tailored to fit, customized. So I wouldn't say we're much focused on Ankara alone, but we're focused on from suits, what you're dressed on right now in the studio. You look good, by the way.
Thank you.
That is
Thank you. I should be visiting your shop soon. Yeah. All right. Now, would want to ask, you mentioned about, the effects of COVID-19 on the market. But even before COVID-19, and we all know and we cross fingers that, we'll get over and done with COVID-19 and move to the next step. What has the market been like? I know very well that people are out here and so many people have ventured into fashion. And you realize that, yes, in as much as there's that demand for clothes out here, also the people who are doing this are very many. Just how is the market and how are you balancing in terms of ensuring that you equally make, a kill out of it?
I honestly, I would say the market in Kenya for this fashion industry, it's quite good. There is business in this sector.
Mm-hmm.
There is business as long as there's a number of things you need to ensure: customer satisfaction, proper timing, being honest. Because in this kind of business, honesty is everything. So there is markets. For anyone who likes to venture in this kind of business, I would say there is market.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenyans are people who love class. Kenyans are people who love something. They love to look good, irrespective of the level of income.
Mm-hmm.
A middle income Kenyan would like to look good. A Kenyan who's living below the living standards, they too would like to look good.
Mm-hmm.
It's only that the situation and the economy will not allow them to, but they too would like to look good. As a result, the fashion industry right now, for people like us to do tailored to fit outfits, there is market, and the market responsive is quite well. But now the problem is, people in this industry, or for young people like us in this business, there are those clients come and order outfits. Outfits are done late. There's poor communication, and according to the design, what the client say, how they do memes online and say what I ordered versus what I got. So I would say the things that make people in this game say the market is poor or something of the sort. That is because they haven't handled their client to that level of satisfaction.
But wait a minute. That in comparison to the market as it stands, And I know, well, you can order online sometimes and you still order locally. But in most cases, most of the orders are, where you order internationally. And we ask ourselves, why is this still that amid all this disappointment, we still go ahead and order and overlook what it is that we have locally? What is this that we're not doing right in terms of fashion in the country, so that it gets us thinking that, okay, if I have to get this dress, maybe I should start go around and checking around and seeing whether we're going to get the best. If I want a wedding dress, I am thinking China, I am thinking Australia, I'm thinking Turkey, I'm thinking Spain, as opposed to thinking home. And I move around and at least I'm able to see, some fashion shops that do wedding gowns.
That's a good question. I would like to say, the mentality people have nowadays. right now at your local place where you stay, you know, there's someone out there making nice mandazis or something of the sort, but you'd rather walk in a supermarket and get something well packed, you know, and well packaged and everything. I'm not trying to say it's because Kenyans have that kind of mentality that they'd rather order online than order locally. That could also be a reason too. Yeah. But also the other reason could be the other fellow designers in the game. They're people who are not serious in what they do. And you know, if they're not, if one of the designers tend to do something amiss or something wrong to one of the clients, what goes wrong? And they say, I'd rather order online or get it. But at the same time, the people in the game who are committed to their work and clients who have tested what they do, and even get out there and say, other than ordering online or getting them imported, I tried something as well as, I visited this guy is on time, this guy is delivered, their outfits were just wow. So I would say, it's about mentality that Kenyans have, but also, I would also like to take the blame partly on the people in the industry. Because some of us are there not everyone is there to get serious with their client, you know? So the few designers who who handle our clients differently, they also participate in making Kenyans think, I'd rather order it online, I'd rather get China. But the reality is, the Chinese are using the same machines they're using to manufacture and produce the same outfits to dress it, you know? The difference is cheaper there. Because doing business in Kenya currently, materials have to get imported. You have to buy them. All this goes down to the client. Because they won't buy a material expensive and come and do an outfit at a very cheaper price. You know?
I agree.
But allow me to say that there are Kenyans here, young Kenyans who are in this industry, people who have studied fashion and design. Some even didn't study but have the passion to do it. And they're doing really nice work. It's only that they need more exposure. And we need Kenyans to believe in Kenyans.
I do not want to diss some of the gurus that I know, some of the people who do a good job. For instance, what it is that you do. Actually, someone recommended you, and they said, well, this guy does a good job. Why don't you try and interview them? And I was like, okay, let's try him. And true to it, well, from the face value, at least we can see it's some good job right there. But I think hata hii nitaisema na Kiswahili ndio itoke vizuri. Ushaikutana na wale madesigner wanajua na wanajiamini. Ushai tu interact na mmoja wao uone vile wanaringa, vile wako na kiburi, vile they can even easily give you back your money and tell you, well, madam hatuwezi hiyo na hiyo time. And it's not a genuine concern where wanaangalia wanasema hawataki kukasirisha. It's just because they know well and they know what it is and they know their art very well. And so whether you want to buy with us, okay, if you don't, potelea mbali, and now the prices shoot to something else.
As you say, have you personally stepped in the shop?
I have. That's why I wanted to express that in Swahili, so it would make sense.
But I totally get you. And I would say, the people who probably young people who get in the business and in quotes they feel that they have made it, or at least they feel cash flow, you know. But then, no matter how much money you make, if you have a vision about your brand, if you know where you want to be, the little wins are not going to get into your head. You know? Because even if it's a client who is walking in and is giving me 1,500 for a shirt, even if I've been handling orders for groups or for teams worth 50,000, I need to understand that the same client who's giving me 1,500 for a shirt, I'm not looking at the value of 1,500, but I'm looking at the value of the word of mouth that is going to get out there and help me grow this brand. Because he will say, I got there and I got to South. I don't deny the fact that there are people in the game who you say, they get in a level and say, by the way, utanieka pressure because of pesa yako ya 1,500 or something, you know?
Exactly.
But a brand that knows where they're headed to, you need to treasure each and every one, even from the clients who started with you when you began the business.
So what is this that is being done collectively? I would want to ask this. I know you meet other designers here and there. What is it that you are doing towards ensuring that, first of all, you grow the industry in the country and make it better, and ensure that, there are great policies that govern and protect the fashion industry in the country, and most importantly, to root out this mentality so that we'll have Kenyans again believing in what it is that Kenyans are doing?
I would like to say we honestly have a challenge in this industry currently.
Yeah.
Because we have the Kenya Fashion Council, that is like a council set up for us to meet up and decide on the pricing and decide on the ethics, on how we're going to handle and ensure that this industry grows. But we have a challenge because, as you say, there are people who have been in the industry for quite a long time. And even us, who are in the game currently, we face people who have been in the industry who try to undermine your work, who try even to get online and try to sabotage what you do. Even the kind of negative comments you get, you'll be surprised in this game when you're a new person in the game and you're trying to build a brand and ensure efficiency and everything. There are other people in the same industry who will get in there, even hire people to get in those social media platforms and talk negative about the business. But then the council, the Kenya Fashion Council, is not that well built. It doesn't have well set out rules and standards. Because right now, even as I speak, anyone can go get a machine and start up and get in the industry and start their own brand or do their own business. I'm not saying it's bad, but if all of us come together and try to build this thing up, you know, they just say it's the Kenya Fashion Council, but even we hardly have meeting. They even hardly have a register for everyone who has opened this kind of business. But if you get a little bit serious about it, set ethics, set standards, talk about pricing, and anyone who has been mishandled or clients have been mishandled can report to this Fashion Council. We will even have license and even cancel and take out license for people who are handling clients in a bad way. Because if one person is handled in a different way, it might not be at Nwala's, it might be at some other fashion brand, but it's that makes them to start and say, I'd rather get it imported.
Would you say that the fashion gurus, the people who've been there before, I know you are a guru, well, in terms of what it is that you do, but in terms of, you know, the people who've been in the industry for the longest of time, do you suppose they have failed you as upcoming ones? And what are you guys doing towards ensuring that you change that moving on? Because, I mean, sometimes you're always dependent on the people who came before you, but if they did not address the crucial issues, then I'm afraid it becomes a tough thing. So, have they failed you? And at that point, you've considered, you know, just leaving this and saying that, you know, I'll do something else?
Where I am with Nwala's currently, I wouldn't say I'm leaving this and doing something else.
Oh, good.
If I'm getting into something else, it might be something else, right? But this brand has to grow and reach to those levels where I have the vision where it's supposed to be. So allow me to say, I would like first to thank those people who have been in the game before. Other than saying they have failed us, I would like to thank them because they are such persons. There are people who we get in their social media and look at the people who they get dressed, you know, they dress celebrities on TV stations. You know, and such things motivate us to do more and be more. But at the same time, I'll also like to challenge them and say they are so much focused on being self-oriented, on building their own brand, forgetting that if anyone in this industry fails them or fails the clients, then they fail the whole industry. Because clients now will rather go in the direction of importing. So I'll say when it comes to bringing the players in the industry together, they have failed us. Because they're much interested in what they get, in building their own name, and they forget that this is about collectiveness. And the Kenyan Fashion Council, I would say, you need to ask them, how many brands do you have in Kenya doing fashion and design? Do they have a registry? You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised that they don't have. And I'd like to pose this as a challenge that all of us need to come together, sit down, and set things out for the better and for the good of the people and fellow Kenyans.
That's good. So what sets you apart? What makes you different from the rest? What makes your brand, you know, one that one would want to identify with?
Not, allow me to say, not to boast about the brand, but I'll rather be honest. I'd rather be honest. When you come at Nwala's or drop by at Nwala's, you'll notice there are things that we treasure most. And the first thing is honesty and customers' communication. If we tell you at Nwala's your outfit will be done by Friday, trust you me, by Thursday we will call you and tell you your outfit is done. And if, because you're human, if anything is to happen as early as 2 days prior, we'll call you and tell you, excuse us, this and this has happened. We'd like to seek for this, you know? So communication is key. And when you come to us, communication, we won't take you rounds. I know that the mentality Kenyans have, and as I've said, with this kind of industry, we won't take you rounds. That is first thing, customers communication. The second thing, what you order is what you get.
Wait a minute. You know, I'm talking to you, and equally, someone is just sharing their experience, and you know, I can literally relate to what they're saying. So this is what they say. Have you at one point probably received an order, I don't know, whichever, for a wedding or a choir, like you had said, and maybe the wedding is somewhere over the weekend, you're not done, say it's Thursday, it's Friday, you're not done. One, you do not want to rush into this and deliver something that is not worth. But at the same time, this person is on your toes. So he says he almost killed someone at some point. I have been through that also. Have you experienced that, and how did you handle that? I
would say, honestly, when you're handling weddings, and you need to understand, when you're handling weddings, you'll discover that it's the bride who handles this. Yes. So they're also under too much pressure. Maybe they have other people delivering, maybe their cakes or other things. So when it comes to us also, there's one thing I keep in mind, that he has other people delivering other stuff. So when it comes with the pressure in here, I understand, okay, with all this pressure, she has the right to, Are you sure? You're just giving us that because you're on screen and you want to act. No, I'm not doing that because I'm not doing that because I'm on screen. Why do I smell a lie in how you and in what you're saying? And as I said before, I told you that if anything is going to be amiss, we will say or communicate 2 days prior. Yeah. And the reason I say that is because I don't deny the fact that there are times that I've been in such situation. But there's no time when the wedding is tomorrow and today the outfit is not done yet. But I've been in a period where the wedding is maybe a week's time or 4 days to time, and maybe some of the people who are participants of that wedding, maybe 2 or 3, their outfits are not done yet. No, it's for me to assure them, kindly, it's almost getting done. For the 2 of you, for the 3 who are left, it's almost getting done. I have been in such situation. I won't lie. But you see, communication is everything. Communication is everything. Because trust you me, even when an outfit is done 2 days before the D-Day, it's still kind of on time. As long as the bride and the groom have their outfit sorted, sometimes you're handling a team of 15 people. And it can maybe a month to the wedding. Yeah. So you're there torn between, okay, it's a month to the wedding, it's kind of pressure, but what do you think? I know we can pull it.
Have you ever heard of this phrase that fundi ni waongo sana? I don't know how it goes. The only fundi that you can trust ni wa kinyozi. Kwanza wale wagudi wamefanya tukaona hakuna fundi wa ukweli.
Nafaa kubadilisha hiyo. And that's why you need to come to the Kenya Fashion Council and set rules and standards. Yeah. When a client complains in that Fashion Council and say, by the way, Nwellas are doing this and this for the first time, second time, third time, we should call the people of that brand and say, you either decide to get serious with what you're doing or get out in this game.
Well, okay. What is... Unajua wanasema mafundi wana... Vile unaongea tu hivyo ndio mafundi wote wanaongea. Wanasema madam pole usijali, hii tunafaa kukondem, sijui nini. But anyway, that aside, marketing. What is the importance of marketing, especially at this point when I think I said this earlier on? You find that there are very many people, fashionistas, who are fashionistas actually, and numerous shops around. You find that you go into, say, a certain market and you find like there are 3, 4, 5 shops that are, just close to each other, doing the same thing. So what is the essence of marketing in this, or the importance of it?
I would say marketing, just like in any other kind of business, marketing is crucial. And right now, currently, we have social media, but the ever kind of best form of marketing is word of mouth. And the only way for you to achieve nice or good levels of clientele via marketing through word of mouth is you ensuring that your work speaks for itself. Allow me to say that. Because even as where I am right now in the street, I know maybe we're 2 or 3 of us. But why would someone get to second floor, go all the way, all the stairs to come at Nwellas and step in the door and walk in? Because word of mouth is the best form of marketing you can ever have. There are people who you only did 1 outfit or even 2 and walked away. You didn't even take the number probably because the number is just at the receipt books. But how they talk about your brand outside there, you'll even think they have a share in the brand. Only because they were pleased. So marketing is crucial. You need to sponsor posts, get on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, sponsor them, let people see what you're doing. But the uttermost and the crucial of them all is word of mouth. And that is built by time. You need to give time a little time. You can't just get in there and within 1 year expect to get to those levels you've been wanting to. You need to appreciate that Each and every day is a new day in the game. And the older you get in the game, today you get one more person knows about NC, that is Noel Disclosure, who didn't know about it yesterday. So the best kind of form of marketing in this game, because there is a lot of people who have ventured in this industry, is word of mouth. People who have walked in your class, tried and tested you. They are the same people who will get out there and say, hey, look, you want to get this done? Just drop by NC. Get on Noella's and get this done. So we are the best in this game, but the best of them all is word of mouth.
All right, incredible. Now, fashion is evolving by the day, and you know, again, there are different types of fashion, like I had started by saying. And when we talk about this, we look at different communities. We look at different people from different backgrounds. We look at people from, you know, across the world. And that diversity is what we probably sometimes lack on the fashionistas that we have, because they tend to cling into one niche. You said you are diverse in your style and all that. So when you look at how much fashion is evolving, what is this thing that you're doing to keep up with, you know, these changes that are happening in terms of trends, these changes that are happening, you know, across different parts of the world?
I'll say in this fashion game, it's easy for you to keep up with the current trend, because even you don't even have to you yourself to get to know what's new today. Just give me a client to walk in, and through that client you know what's currently trending. Another one will walk in the same day and maybe order the same kind of design, and you know this is time for me to venture into this. But now we just add a little touch of something else in this thing that they're buying currently that will make it different from them.
So before you continue, is there anything that you ever done unajua unaangalia unasema yenyewe hii ni yangu, hii hata iko kwa dunia ingine, hii ni style yangu?
How I wish I will have a chance to have them on the dummies currently. But maybe when you get to our social media pages, that is at Noella's Closet, Instagram and Facebook, you'll have a look and see some of the things that you've done that are creative.
Okay.
And the things that we are still working on. Especially right now, we have young YouTubers coming up. Everyone is a YouTuber or something of the sort. And those guys, I would say, some are really working hard to build their own brands. And those are the people we use. We say, hey, look, you have this kind of following in YouTube. There's something we like to try, or a nice outfit. And you know, if we dress your need, someone else is going to see you doing your thing. Maybe you're a travel blogger or something else, and they will like that outfit, and we will sell from it. And there's nothing as nice as seeing people trying out designs out there, which they found online. And you know very well it's you who did that. You sat down and draw it on the table and sat down with your team, because team is everything. I will sit down and discuss it with my team and say, hey, what do we do about this? Yeah, we can do a touch of this. You know? So I would say we have a number of, and designs, even a mistake. In fashion, we say even a mistake you've done in an outfit, and you try and correct it with a certain kind of touch, it's not a mistake. You can turn it to a design.
Well, that's a nice one. And speaking of which, I think I need to see some of your pieces. I feel like, yes, the connection is stable enough, and maybe you can turn and probably pull your koti kwa hapo or anything that is just close to you, and you know, tell us something about whatever it is that you've done.
Let me just show you the current
connection yetu. Sawa. Pick something.
Sawa. Can I have it here?
All right.
I am not sure if you still can see it.
Yes, that would be, pull it closer to you.
Do I bring it closer?
Yes. Make sure that it's seen on your screen. Make sure that you're able to see it yourself.
Okay.
Usishike, ukishika hiyo utaanza kuharibu sasa turudi nyuma. Tuendelee na hiyo kwanza. But I can see some, yes, I can see that. Yeah, that is good.
I don't know if you can have a view of it.
Yes, I can. Is it a jumpsuit?
Yes, exactly. It's a jumpsuit.
Okay. Looks beautiful.
I wish you would see it from the knee down there, because the bottoms are kind of extended there.
You can place it somewhere behind, close to the skirt.
I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see.
It's flare-ish. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is an Ankara jumpsuit.
That's an Ankara. Put it somewhere close to the skirt, to the attire that is right behind you, so that we're able to see it clearly.
Oh, you want me to remove this attire?
Hey, move it nyuma kidogo.
Sawa. Just get it at the back. And then can you get this one? I wish you'd have seen the top part of this Ankara jumpsuit.
I can see the top.
Can you see how?
Just move it close to that. Tell her to move it close to that, to the dummy, to the dummy that is right behind you.
Move it close to that.
Oh, there's no space? That is okay. That is perfect. Tell us.
again, she can help me unopen this band.
Yeah.
So it has a band on it, right?
Nice.
Of course, you have clients who come walk in and say, "Mimi sitaki tumbo ionekane sana kiasi na nini," you know that kind of clients. Huh?
I know. I can relate.
So this is a part of the band, and that's why you charge. You charge. So
that comes in handy to hide the stomach.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I am impressed with how you're familiar with this.
Are you trying to throw shade at me?
No.
Well, that's a tip. That's a tip for me.
So you tie it. There is a different way you can tie it, so it can help you to hide that. Huh?
Yeah.
So that comes in handy with us. Now this is an Ankara jumpsuit. You see it's floral. You can imagine how beautiful you look on it on the screen.
I'll walk in. You can be rest assured that I'll walk in. That dummy is almost my body size.
Let me show you one last one.
Okay.
Just open this up.
Meanwhile, what is your connection with the modeling industry? Have you done anything with the modeling industry, and how flexible and helpful is it in terms of just selling out your products out there?
It's now 3 years in the game.
3 years in the game. Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it's now 3 years in the game. But for those 3 years, what I have seen, learned, and the level of growth that I have is impeccable.
Wow.
And I would say I did statistics and programming in university. I didn't do fashion. But the passion I have towards fashion is what keeps me moving. It's nice when a client walks out, or you see their photos on Instagram they have posted, smiling, knowing very well those outfits were done by you. So I know you can see the skirt behind me.
I can. White and blue. Wow, that's beautiful.
So this is an official outfit. You see, it's not just Ankara. And also, can you see the top clearly?
Does it have laces or something?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you see clearly? Yeah. So I was telling you, we just don't do Ankara as people would like or think about it. I have a suit that is with me here also, which is a male coat. If you see it clearly.
Yes.
You see it.
Right.
Yeah. So you see this is a suit, and in it is now it's almost completed, but it's not yet done.
Yeah.
What is left is the button.
Right.
In it, you see the half coat.
Yes.
No? And you see the kind of finishing that is done on this coat.
Perfect. The inside. Oh, nice. Hey, now you see advertise sana sawa.
I wish I had some pull necks.
Right.
People think pull necks are important. Yeah. Or you find the stores and you think they're not tailored to fit.
I agree.
Even pull necks, the sweaters you're on, we do have them tailored to fit right here.
Nice.
So these are kind of the samples of what we do. And the shop is just big. If you walk in, you'll have a chance to... Now, this is the place where we showcase our designs. And back there where you see the door is where we have staff only, where the machines are and where production is done. And I work with a number of 3 young people.
Nice. Also creation of employment. Incredible. I've just seen one of them who just got a minute of fame. So as we get to wind up, that's incredible stuff right there. What adjustments have you done to cope up with COVID-19 as we wind up? The situation at hand when COVID is here.
Allow me to say, you see us smiling here and looking all glitter and glow, but it's been tough times.
Right.
It really has been, and maintaining the brand so that when you get back in the game, when everything gets back to good or on track, we can get in there. It has been difficult. So what I've been doing is, we've been having talks, of course, with the place where you rent, or you and your landlord or landlady, and we discuss about one or two and say, hey, look, now this is how the business is currently, and I've been with you for 3 years in this place. I've never been late in payment of rent. I've always sorted bills and everything. But if anything happens this period that you find me that I was late in settling this out, can you kindly allow me? Can we work on a plan on how to sort this out? And I thank God for the people, for fellow Kenyans, because the people who are really understanding our side here. And that's what we've been trying to do basically to survive. When you walk through that door, you'll notice we have a place you will sanitize, wash your hands. We advise everyone to be on mask who is walking in, to keep safe, not only for our own good, but also for the people we are working with, and for our parents back at home, or the family we have back at home.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to protect ourselves and also at the same time praying to God that all this ends. Because honestly, business is tough. Your friends outside there won't tell you. Maybe you'll see a friend who owns some business and they will smile and you know, say, hey, but I see you guys online. Emmanuel, I saw you on TV, you're doing good, you're doing everything. Yeah. But it's only you who deep down knows that how we pray that all this ends.
I agree.
You know,
how we all pray that it's going to be the case.
Yeah, and the president gives hope to Kenyans rather than installing fear and how bad all this is. So as even the customers or the consumers can now open up to buying and purchasing, because the purchasing level is now very low.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Well, it's pretty much unfortunate across different sectors of the business. But like you rightfully put it, we all hope for the best. Fashion designer Emmanuel Peter, thank you so much. Keep doing what it is that you're doing. Of course, it is an incredible job right there. And we cross fingers that indeed this will end and we'll go back to normalcy. It was great. That was on the lifestyle segment. We're all about fashion and we're looking forward to see you again tomorrow as we cross over to matters entertainment, and so much so that we'll be having in store for you. It was good having you right from the start up until now. Thank you so much for always choosing to stay with TV47. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. My name is Linda Alela, and that's where we get to wind up Morning Cafe.
Thank you.
Mount Kenya University takes pride in being an academic giant with some of the best infrastructure, imparting knowledge to the best brains in the country and